breakfast sausage.
Oh, wow.
They grind it and
following episode of The Garden Doctor was originally recorded Wednesday morning and is a paid presentation of Jung's Garden Center. The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Good Karma Brands, its management, and its employees.
And welcome into our final Garden Doctor program of the fall season. With us is Dick Zondag from Jung Garden Center in Randolph. Seems like you just got here for your first show this fall, and suddenly we're wrapping up.
Yeah, it is. Gone fast this year. Things have really progressed, I guess, and so, it's the last Garden Doctor program of 2021.
And we ask people to call up, 885-4446, even if you want to wish Dick a happy winter.
Yeah, I feel like going south.
Yeah, as we all go into hibernation. You give us a call at 885-4446. What's happening at the store, Dick?
Well, we're wrapping up fall. We still have a lot of bulbs. The bulk bulbs are on sale for a third off, and our remaining nursery stock, which is starting to get a little bit low, are on sale along with the perennials that are left. And if you get the perennials, what you do is plant them and mulch them immediately so that the soil stays warm and the plant gets established a little bit in the fall, and that way next spring it will come up and do very, very well. We also have a great selection of houseplants. You know, houseplants have been very popular and actually been very scarce, and so we grow some of our own houseplants, but we also bring some in, and the croton I brought along today will look really nice. They do very well in low light situations, which are the situation that most houses have. You want to keep houseplants out of the blast of warm air that comes out of the furnace, but keeping them watered and spritzing them once in a while will keep them really well. Don't want to fertilize them too much during the winter because the plants know that it is a dormant season by the amount of daylight and darkness that they have, so they really don't want to grow in the wintertime. So you don't want to fertilize them too much, but you do want to keep them watered, and some people even leave the lights on so that they get a little extra light, but they do very well. They kind of lift your spirits in the wintertime when nothing else is growing outside. So they do add quite a bit to your home decorations. I also brought along some bird feeding. Of course, in the wintertime we have the cardinals and the chickadees and the sparrows and things like that stick around for the winter. So if you want to feed the birds, you want to make sure that you keep feeding them so that you don't fill the feeder and then it runs out, and in a week or two you fill it up again. You want to keep a supply of bird seed so that when the birds come to your feeder that they know that there will be some food there. Of course, the cardinals like to have the sunflower seeds and some of the others, but we have several different mixes in the store for different types of birds. I know with my house, kind of being out in the country a little ways and having trees right next to it, I think we had 6 or 8 pairs of cardinals coming to our feeder last year. And it's kind of nice to sit at the table eating your lunch or dinner and having those birds come up to feed on your feeders. So
we have a ton of cardinals at our place too, with all the pine trees around. Is there anything, a suggestion you can give to get rid of those pesky squirrels that like to eat the birdseed?
You know what I did, and it seemed to have worked pretty well, is I cut through some 1-gallon milk cartons so that they would come back around the base of the thing, and I put about four or five on there, and we don't have trouble with the squirrels getting through those. You know, they seem to find their way around the tricks that we have and get up to the bird feeders. But that worked really well, and I think now the squirrels in my area know that they are not supposed to be on the bird feeder, so they kind of pick up the bird seed on the ground that the birds have thrown off the cedar, and so don't have as much trouble with it. But yeah, cutting the milk carton, you got to cut a hole in the bottom and
Okay.
slit it, all the way along one side so that it kind of slips over and then that worked really well for me.
Cool. I got one of those, I don't know, it looks like an umbrella, except it's smooth.
Right.
So they still manage to get
Yeah,
by.
they are pretty smart little animals when there's food available. So yeah, but that really helped a lot. We chased a lot of them off the feeder until I did that. So milk cartons work really well.
Because I had to go ahead.
I also had a slinky one time.
Oh.
But the chipmunks went right up, got between the pole and the slinky and went right up the pole. So kind of helped them. So that didn't work. But the milk cartons really do a good job.
'Cause I saw a shirt that had a picture of a squirrel looking into a window holding the sign, "You're out of birdseed." Have you ever seen that or not? But
Yeah, they do like to do that, but I think that worked pretty well. You have to be away from the house a little ways too, because sometimes they'll jump off the roof.
yeah.
But
exactly.
but that helped for me.
Okay. 885-4446. Both lines are open, and this is Dick's last show for the fall term. So give us a call. And we should mention, I don't think I had, that we are on Daily Dodge video, live video. So if you're have access to a computer, just go to dailydodge.com
Yep.
and get on the video.
So, yeah, I don't know if they enjoy looking at me or not. Like you say, John, we have the face for radio.
No. You're that striking, tall, handsome guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now, what are the winter preparations for your lawn?
Yeah, see, I was going to talk about that a little bit too. We have a winterizer fertilizer that doesn't have as much nitrogen in it. It has the potassium that the roots need for good health. And so if you put the winterizer on, it doesn't encourage the growth, but it does encourage the root system, because even though the ground is cold now, the roots of a plant never go dormant. And so when they have that extra fertilizer, that does make them grow, and they'll be ready to grow in the springtime. So when you put the high nitrogen fertilizer on in the spring, the plants will grow really well. The other thing you can do too, if you've got bare spots, is maybe I'd wait another week or so, but you can do what's called dormant seeding. And what you do then is you get the grass seed and you put it on the soil, rake it in, but the soil is so cold now that the seed won't germinate. But the thing about dormant seeding is that when you do that, the seed is there when the soil gets warm enough in the spring that it germinates while we still have that cool, wet weather in the springtime, which is what grass seed needs. It needs moisture, and you don't want it to dry out. In the early spring, you don't have as much trouble with the drying winds that we have later on in the spring or in the summertime, and so you don't have to water them, but you just put the seed down, you work it into the soil. Well, the soil is still unfrozen, and because the soil temperature is below 55 degrees, the seed isn't going to germinate, and it will just lay dormant in the soil. And if you put a little straw over it so that it keeps that moisture in, when the ground gets up above 55 degrees, that seed will germinate as soon as the soil temperature reaches the proper temperature for germination, and works really well.
All right, we do have callers waiting now. Let's go to the phones. You are on the air with the Garden Doctor.
Hello.
Good morning.
I have a lamb's ear that is a giant lamb's ear. I'm wondering what I should do with it for the winter. It came up last year, but it wasn't quite as big as it is now.
Right.
And do I need to cut off those leaves? And I want to transplant it in the spring. But what should I do for now?
Yeah, what I would do is when the soil gets cold or frozen, mulch it. You don't necessarily have to cut it off, but next spring I would do that if you want to start it over from the ground, and take as much soil as you can, and do it before the plant starts to grow.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, just mulch it.
Yep, just put
For
some
now.
straw or hay or,
Yeah.
not leaves. Leaves do not make a good mulch for mulching perennials. You want something that traps the air, so
Yeah.
even grass clippings are not the greatest, but we have straw or marsh hay.
Uh-huh. What about when I cut down some of my flower leaves and stuff? I left them on top of the flowers. Is that a good mulch? All the leaves and stems?
The stems probably would be because, what you have to do is you have to trap air because the air is the insulator. And if we knew that we were going to have great snow every year, you wouldn't have to mulch at all because snow is a really great insulator. Mm-hmm. But we sometimes don't have snow, or we have snow and then it melts and then you have ice on top. So just straw or marsh hay are the two best things for mulch.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thanks for calling.
And let's go to caller number 2, 885-4446, the number to call to get on the air with Dick Zondag from Jung Garden Center in Randolph. Good morning, you're on the show.
Good morning. I've got a couple mum plants that I got a couple months ago.
Okay.
And I've had them outside up to today.
Right.
And I'm just wondering how to store them over the winter. And do I cut them down, or can I store them in the garage? Or
Yeah, that's basically what I do. Most fall mums are annuals. Once they die, they're dead. If you,
I'm not sure if it's annual or.
Well, whether it's a perennial or an annual variety, if they're in a pot, they usually don't make it through the winter. But if you want to try and do it, what I would do is keep it watered. Once the leaves are all dead and stuff, cut the tops off and keep it in your garage, and then plant it out next spring. Because if you leave it outside now, if you plant it outside, there's no chance that it will make it. Because
keep it in the garage
keep it in the garage, kind of water it maybe once every 3 or 4 weeks, just enough to keep it from completely drying out. You may even want to throw a blanket over them. That'll also keep the temperature from varying too much. Even do you have a heated garage?
No.
Okay. Well, then I'd throw a blanket over them for the winter, and then just peel it back, like I said, every 3 or 4 weeks to water it. Okay. And that you might be able to overwinter them that way. And then plant it out right away in the spring, and then you'll have to just let it do its thing.
But do I cut the plant down?
Yes,
now,
I would cut it because the tops are going to be dead whether you store it in the garage or not. So just cut it off and throw it in the compost bin and keep them in the garage with a heavy blanket over them.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
All right.
Yeah, thank you for calling.
Bye.
Heavy blanket and a good bedtime story, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Put them to bed.
That's right. All right, let's go to the other line, 885-4446. You're on the air with the Garden Doctor.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm wondering about apple trees. They're pretty much a disaster, with the spots and all that good stuff.
Right.
So I rake up all the debris, leaves, twigs, get rid of all the old apples, and it's not seeming to help.
Okay, so that's basically what you start with is good sanitation. You want to get all the leaves, especially if they have the apple scab, because the apple scab overwinters, and any debris that's left or any apples that are still in the tree make an excellent way of getting it next year. Then next spring, when you're getting temperatures where the temperature stays above freezing for 24 hours, you want to get a dormant spray. It's called lime sulfur or just an emulsifiable oil. And you want to cover the tree and the ground around the tree to drip, because that will basically do your house cleaning. It'll take care of any disease spores that are in the area, any insect eggs that are in the area. And then if you want to have really good apples, you have to start spraying when the leaves first come out. That's when they're most susceptible to apple scab, and any debris that's on the ground the spores are actually in cases that explode and send the spores up into the tree when it's most susceptible. So Captan or benlate at silver tip when the leaves are sort of silvery when they're first coming out of the buds. And then the second important spray is when the flowers start to show a little bit of color. And then the third really important spray is when the petals drop. Those three are really important. And then if you want to have perfect apples, then you've got to spray every week or 10 days with Captan for the fungicide, and then later on you add an insecticide to that. So, yeah. It's not an easy thing. The other alternative when you plant trees is to get the trees that are that have the resistance to the apple scab. We have several varieties of apple trees that we plant that you can plant that have the disease part of it covered. They don't get the apple scab. You still have to spray for insects, but at least the apple scab is not a problem.
The scab, is that the black?
That's the black spots that are on the
Oh, okay.
apple or on the leaves.
Okay, and then to start off in the spring of the year, you got all that stuff? I can just come and get
We
it?
do have that at the garden center. Yes, we do.
All right, then I guess we'll see you in early spring.
Very good.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you very much. And again, the number is 885-4446 to get you on the show. This is the Garden Doctor, Dick Zondag from Jung Garden Center in Randolph. We are here both on WBEV 1430 and also streaming live video on Daily Dodge, so you can take a look. If you ever wondered what Dick Zondag looks like,
Yeah,
there's your opportunity right there.
great.
Let's go to the phones. Good.
Maybe you'd never tune in again.
You are on the air.
Hello, I have a question about weeds in the lawn.
Okay.
Doesn't do anything to put anything this fall. Got to wait till spring. Is that right?
No, now is a good time to start weakening the creeping Charlie and the dandelions and the plantain. You want to use a spray called Weed Beater Ultra. It's an excellent spray because it most of the sprays that you use for weed control are they're ethyl preparations. These are the amine preparations, and they will handle, if we get a warm day, they won't vaporize. But what you want to do is weaken them now, because then the winter, if we have a hard winter, we'll take the weeds out. And then next spring, if you've got areas that have a lot of weeds in them, then you've got to want to put the seed on immediately. So, yeah, Weed Beater Ultra, we have it in the garden center, and
It's called weed beater.
yep, Weed Beater Ultra.
Okay,
And
and
it-
that definitely helps.
Yep,
Right?
it really does. And what you want to do, it tells you how much you have to use per square foot. And so you want to measure, if you haven't got a sprayer, you just take a sprinkling can and go back and forth on your driveway to see how much area you can cover with one sprinkling can full of water. And then what you do is you figure out the square footage, and that will tell you how much chemical to put into the sprinkling can, and then you just go through the area where you've got your weeds and sprinkle it on them, and
Okay.
it should help control it.
Sounds good, because I got like 300 square feet I want to spray.
Okay.
I have to use a sprayer for that, right?
Yep, if you've got a sprayer, that works too.
And
The only thing you don't want to do, though, is if you've got a sprayer, you don't want to use Weed Beater Ultra and then spray insect on plants, because the residual in the sprayer will harm the plants too. So you have to have a separate sprayer
Okay.
for weed control and a separate sprayer for insect control and fungicide.
Okay, go. And one more quick one. I got evergreens, and they're probably spreading out so wide. Now, can I trim them, or do I have to cut the whole evergreen down?
It
If I take
depends on-
5
Yeah, it depends on the evergreen that you have. Do you know what it is? Is it a spruce or a arborvitae or a juniper or what?
spruce.
Okay. What you can do with spruce trees is you can only cut them back as far as the foliage is still there, because if you cut them into the brown, that branch is dead. You know,
Okay.
it doesn't have the ability to sprout like deciduous plants do.
Yeah. Okay, and that doesn't hurt then. cut them off, they'll come back a little bit on that, right?
If you stay in the needled area, there are buds
Yeah.
in there that will come back. What I usually do with spruces in the springtime, I go around with a jackknife and I just take the terminal bud out on the branches that are farthest out, and that will stop them there, and they will sprout buds back into the branch itself to make it thicker.
Okay, that sounds great.
Okay?
Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
All right, then let's go to the other line. You're on the air with the garden doctor.
Hi, I have a hydrangea plant that never blooms.
Okay. Do you know what variety it is?
No, it's been there several years now.
Do you trim it at all?
No, I haven't
Okay.
trimmed it.
It's really difficult to tell you what the problem is because there are so many different types of hydrangeas, and some bloom in the spring, some bloom in the summer, some bloom both spring and summer, and you really need to know what the variety is. My suggestion would be to, probably do some root pruning. You know, take a shovel and drive it in the ground right next to the shrub, because that will put it under pressure and will cause it to form flower buds next year. Don't fertilize it, because fertilizer tends to inhibit blossoming if you use too much. Look and see if there are fat buds at the tips of the branches right now, because if it has fat buds, that means that those should be flower buds, as opposed to buds that would be farther down the branch, which would be sharp, and those are the leaf buds for next year. Does it grow from the ground each year?
Yep.
Okay, then it's probably an arborescens variety, which blossoms in early summer, which means that the flower buds are on right now. I guess
Should I fertilize it in the spring?
No, I wouldn't fertilize it at all, because fertilization can inhibit flowering. I would just take a sharp shovel and drive it into the ground, right where the stems are coming out of the ground. Cut a few of the roots, and that will cause it to be under a little bit of stress, and the stress does cause flowering.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep, thank you.
Yep, thank you for calling.
Thank you for your call, and let's go to the other line. 885-4446, the number to call to get on the air with the Garden Doctor here on WBEV and streaming live at dailydodge.com live video. And you are on the air. Go right ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have three, I believe they're called autumn haze pear trees that are 4 years old.
Okay.
And they have never been trimmed up from the ground, and of course they've gotten as tall as our gutters for sure.
Sure. I think they're
Okay.
probably some of the calorie pears that are mainly for flowering, not for fruit.
Right. And they're always three colors. I mean, they blossom in the spring,
Right.
and then but all the leaves there's yellow leaves are dropping,
Right?
but they have never, the tree itself has not turned color yet.
Is it in?
The last few years it was red in the fall.
Okay.
It's still bright green.
Yeah. This has been a very unusual season for fall color. It just seems like we haven't had the display that we normally have, and so I wouldn't be. I mean, it will vary from year to year what the fall coloring is, and there's really nothing you can do to encourage or to discourage fall color. That's part of the genetics of the plant. And so I guess what I would say is just if you do any fertilization, do minimal amounts of it. Maybe do a little bit of pruning, but you don't want to prune pears too hard, because if you do, they form water sprouts and you can get fire blight. So I would say maybe a minimum of pruning and maybe a little bit of fertilization next spring.
Well, what can I cut those bottom branches off? They aren't very big. I'm sure I
Yeah.
can use my hand clipper.
Sure. I mean, if they're that small, you can prune it up. Probably now the calorie pears tend to be very upright in habit, so you don't have to prune them up more than like 3 feet. But you can, yeah. Now's the time you can do pruning.
So I can go 3 feet off the ground.
Right.
Okay, and I don't have to wait till the leaves drop.
No. I think everything is pretty dormant by now.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks very much. We'll have to be brief, caller. We're just about up to the end of the show, but go ahead with your question.
Hi, I have your beautiful Annabelle Hydrangeas, but I was just wondering, do they or any kind of hydrangea grow on the north side of a house?
Hydrangeas are somewhat shade tolerant, so if it gets a little bit of sunlight, it probably would do all right on the north side of the house.
That's where ours are.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there wouldn't really be any sun over there, but yeah. Okay.
I guess try it, see, maybe
Yeah.
get one and see once if it does. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and
Annabelle's a really pretty white snowball type
Oh,
hydrangea.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. And then do you sell a smaller, shorter, colored one, like a pink or a blue or something?
Yes, we have several different hydrangeas that, depending on the acidity of the soil, will be pink or blue. We also have some of the shorter ones that have the white, the Incrediball. There's a mini Incrediball too. So we have probably 10 different varieties of hydrangeas that we sell.
Oh, good. I can't wait for spring.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thanks for calling.
It's barely November, and we can't wait for spring already in Wisconsin. Well, Dick, again, what is happening at the store?
Well, we still have bulbs. You can plant bulbs up until the time the ground freezes, and if you do plant them now, you want to put a little bit of mulch over them so that the soil stays warmer. But you can still plant bulbs. Our bulk bulbs are on sale. The rest of our nursery is on sale. We have grass seed and fertilizer. We got good people that can talk horticulture. We have great house plants, and we have a very good supply of bird feeders and bird seeds. So you keep those feathered friends around your house by get out there and feeding them. And I want to thank everybody here at WBEV and all the people that called and all of our customers that keep us in business. Hopefully we'll be garden doctoring next spring.
All right. Well, thank you for all your expertise, Dick, and you have a wonderful winter season.
You bet.
All right, and that'll do it for this edition of The Garden Doctor, the last show of the fall session.
Preceding episode of